Welcome to the Best Franchise Brands podcast, where in each episode, we will explore a specific franchise brand with details about their business, requirements for franchise candidates, how they train their franchisees, and details about the systems they've set up so franchisees get a great start. Interviews with industry leaders of the best franchise brands will give you insights and help you discover important details about which franchisors you should engage with in the discovery process as you prepare to start your franchise business. And now, here's your host, James Carl Butler.
Welcome to this episode of the Best Franchise Brands podcast. Today we're privileged to talk with David Grossman, who is the president of Renue Systems, which is a deep cleaning franchise that specializes in hotels, hospitality, and commercial properties. It's an absolute honor to have him on the podcast here today. The business itself was started back in 1991. They started franchising back in 2001, and David bought the franchise operations in 2010 and has been running as the president ever since. So it's an absolute honor to have him here, as I mentioned. So David, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Fantastic. Well, tell us about the history of Renue Systems and how, I mentioned briefly what that is, but as you mentioned just before we started here, the owner is the original founder of the business is still quite actively involved in what you guys are doing. But tell us about the formation of the business and why you decided to get involved and be a part of franchising and be a part of Renue Systems.
Sure. Yeah. We did start in 1991, a young individual. He was 21 at the time.
Wow.
Who taught himself how to clean carpets for homes, for restaurants, frankly, whoever would pay him to do the work, but saw back then just how competitive it is to be a general cleaning company. There's hundreds. You could Google general cleaning your home and you'd probably actually find thousands that pop up. So he had the foresight to think, hey, maybe I should get a focus. And around soon thereafter, picked up a new customer, a small hotel. And so ever since then, we've gone down that path of focusing and not restricting ourselves to hotels, but really focusing on the 4-star, 5-star big branded properties affiliated with Marriott, with Hilton, with Hyatt, Intercontinental, and a number of others. And we have deep relationships and our preferred vendor with them and many others. So we tend to service these large international high-end hotels. And the type of work we do is also specialized in that it's not everyday housekeeping or mopping or vacuuming, but the more challenging deep cleaning projects that happen from time to time, ranging anywhere from inside the hotels, the hallways, the guest rooms, the meeting spaces, the lobby, to outside as well. We do window cleaning, we do power washing, but really any surface, any need, will go in a few times a year with heavy duty equipment, chemical supplies, and that's what we do. And we started franchising about a little over 20 years ago across the U.S. The original location in Chicago, where we're based, is still company owned and operated, which we think is important to make us a better franchisor to know how to run one of these businesses. We also use that for training and R&D. And we now have 31 locations where we give out very large territories, typically one per major city. So we cover most of the U.S. And a few years ago, we started expanding internationally, where we're now in about to enter our 6th country. Our customers are based internationally and increasingly so. So they were asking us to see if we could help them beyond the U.S. We knew Renue worked well in the U.S. for a number of years, so we gave it a try, and we're starting to have some good success. So we want to continue to building out the U.S. with good quality teams and also focus internationally. And I joined the company 15 years ago and was just looking for an interesting opportunity. Frankly, didn't know anything about cleaning or hotels. In fact, if you ask my wife, she'll probably say, I still don't know anything about cleaning. But it just seemed like an interesting opportunity, and that's how I got involved. And frankly, that's why a lot of our franchisees similarly don't have any specific background in what we do. But we found that by focusing on this customer base and the services, we've just gotten good at it, and also gotten good systems that we can use to help our franchisees.
I love that. And if you go to your website too, it's Renue, Renue Systems.com. You can see some great videos you have in the franchising section of people that even worked at hotels or were managing hotels and then decided to start a franchise with you guys too, which is inspiring to see. Tell us about the opportunity, because I think one thing people don't really think about is obviously there's people that clean hotel rooms each and every day, which are part of the hotel staff. But what you guys do a little bit different. You actually go and do a deep clean of the operation, and maybe you can talk about the perspective of what the opportunity looks like for somebody who's considering this who hadn't really thought about cleaning before as a business opportunity within your franchise.
Yeah, so one of the things that we differentiate ourselves is not only the type of work we do, but also the fact that we give out very sizable territories. So we find that even our franchisees that have been with us for many years are not tapped out on growth. There's always more customers that are out there and or servicing existing customers, penetrating them further. We have many different services. Often a customer may start with one or two of our services, carpet cleaning, and then they like the work and they'll give us some tile and grout restoration. So there's really a lot of opportunity. We haven't found that we've tapped out our growth potential. As I mentioned, even amongst our biggest and oldest territories. And our franchisees generally really like the work. Our customers are hotel managers who are attracted to the hotel industry because they tend to be friendly and and we build long-term relationships, which we teach our franchisees how to do. So we provide a lot of support. Also, it's not just hey, here, come in to Chicago for 9 days of operational training, which they do at the beginning, but we always help them along the way. There's always going to be questions on that. And importantly, we help a lot on the sales side using our relationships and our resources to really jumpstart on the marketing end. So the average person on the street, in fact, suspect everyone listening right now, if you were to ask them who's Renue Systems, I would say that I would be surprised if anyone knew who we are. Well, we'd like it that way. Keeping a low profile keeps kind of the under the radar competition down. The good news is our customers know who we are. And so it's a very tailored customer base, hotel managers, senior managers of hotels. And frankly, we like it that way. And the last comment I'll make here is the collaboration effort is that we really think we do a good job of working very closely with our franchisees. I mentioned we've really got 31, and even when we're quote sold out, we're still going to have a smallish number. So the benefit of that is I mentioned big territories, our franchisees can build big businesses, but the other benefit, maybe less obvious, is that we have a small franchisee base. We can continue, our senior management can continue to provide a lot of individual and responsive treatment to our franchisees. We know them all very well, and we really try to help them grow in many ways. So that culture of still being a small business as we scale is something we really focus on. I think we're doing a good job, but it's something that we really want to keep going.
Right. I think one thing that's really impressive about your business model too is that you have so much recurring revenue opportunities, because you clean a hotel, you deep clean it, it's going to get dirty again. And that's more opportunity for you guys to go back and redo that. What have you found from your clients or basically your franchisees? How often are people going back and repeating the process of going through and renewing the service to have them come through and do a deep cleaning of the property?
Yeah, we do that at least, I would say, it can range anywhere from once a year to once every week. It's a wide range. Sometimes we'll start with a small project. A hotel wants to try us. We'll come in and get remove some odors from some of their guest rooms. Maybe as a guest had smoked in the room or brought a pet in the room or cooked in the room. So we'll get rid of that. We do a good job. We get another project. So, but I would say our better customers were in several times a year. And these aren't small projects. We'll bring in a team of several of our workers for the better part of a week, give or take. So the sizable projects, and you're absolutely right. We get a lot of recurring, highly repetitive work, and our spend actually tends to grow each year as we take on more services, penetrate further in the hotel. So no doubt about it that there's a lot of repeat. And then if we're doing our job right, we get referrals. So one Hilton hotel, motel, another Hilton hotel in the city, hey, you should consider using these. Or maybe they'll tell a Hilton hotel in another city where we've got a franchise. So with this reputational network really seems to help us a lot.
How big of a team do your franchisees typically need to have to do this? I would imagine, do they typically outsource? They're hiring people, or they bring people in to do it temporarily? Do they actually hire them as employees, or how does that work typically for growing the business?
Yeah, important question nowadays, certainly about employees, is that we want all the employees to be Renew employees that have been trained. It doesn't have to come to Chicago for training, and the team can
Right.
typically train them themselves, but we want them trained in our practices. So that's one of the ways we maintain the quality. Also, our customers, hotels are very sensitive to the vendors they allow inside because we're always going to be coming across their guests. So they're very careful about it. And we make sure not only do we train our technicians how to do the cleaning, but also what it's like to work inside a hotel and be very professional and courteous of guests. So we're very careful about that. But to your point, also, one of the nice things about our business is it's simple to run. It may not sound it to someone who doesn't comes from the outside, but it really is. And a key of that is having a small team. Can start out with as few as one or two, or even just one technician who'll get trained along with our franchisee owner, and then it scales. And you bring in another one technician, you get train them as business grows. But our biggest locations only have about 12 technicians, with our average being 5 or 6, and you can still make a good business because it's specialized work. So we were able to get charge good prices in order to bring in a good teams of workers that are well trained, and it works that way because a lot of people think cleaning you need a huge team and constantly focus on HR issues, not well paid. And that's generally true, but our business model kind of puts that on its side, where we can get away with small teams that are well paid, but the profit margins support that type of work.
Sure. As well, someone who's coming into a brand new territory, for example, one thing I think is beneficial about your business model as well is you have these relationships with a lot of these top companies, like you mentioned, Hyatt, Marriott, a lot of these other big brands, Hilton, that Intercontinental. That the people can come in and they come into a new city or a new area and they can start getting some of those contracts right away, or they already are familiar with who you are, which is really beneficial too in your business.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we help make those introductions. So we come, we've got a very active marketing team who, particularly when we have a new franchisee, will get the word out to contact all the hotels, try to set up meetings. We go out, I go out within the first few weeks, and we go visit hotels together. So our franchisees are comfortable doing this marketing. And so the assistance there remains. But like you say, the reputation helps a lot. Being preferred vendor really helps a lot. They're not guaranteeing us work. We have to earn it, but it gives us a big leg up. And the more locations we have, the more franchisees we have, it really benefits everybody, because if we can service more, you mentioned Hilton hotels, if we can service more Hilton hotels, whether they're in the city of Chicago where we're based, or say somewhere out on the West Coast where we have a location, it just strengthens our reputation within these big brands. So it's our franchisees are very encouraging us to bring in additional high quality franchisees in the U.S. and around the world, because it increases the value of everybody.
Well, for you personally, what do you think has been the most memorable moment you've experienced as you've been building this business out? You've been the president of the company for the last 15 years. What do you think is the most memorable moment that kind of stands out to you about being a part of this brand, and what maybe a franchisee has said to you about the opportunity, or something you experienced from a client or something like that that really stands out to you in your own mind?
Yeah, it's something I think a lot about. I love our team. I love our franchisees and our customers. And more specifically, I have enough faith in our team and our capabilities that if we find good franchisees, whatever their background is, if we think they've got the right fit for us and the right skill set, that our track record is we have a very good chance of helping them start and grow a big business. And that's the exciting part. Is it's almost every franchisee we have where they start out and they're very nervous and they don't even have any customers, and after they finish the initial training, and it's like, what do I do now? I've got expenses starting to happen and no revenue coming in. but then they get their first project and they get their second project and it goes. And then, they look back 6 months later, 9 months later, and you start to say, hey, I can see this starting to work. And then, 6 months later, wow, this is really working. And I'm really excited and I see the potential. So getting them over the initial hesitation, not that that ever goes away. You're always running a small business. You always should be concerned about keep it going and growing it. But initially, when you're starting to get your first customer and get excited and get the nice feedback from the customer that they love this and they want to use this again and get the word around and our franchisees seeing that's the really exciting part when they first get going and start to see that, hey, this really can work out well. And I'm really glad I left corporate America to do something like this.
That's awesome. You guys have been around and continuing to grow for a number of years. What do you think has been the secret behind your success of scaling with the previous founder and the owner, and then now as you've been taking on the reins of kind of growing the business up and starting to do international expansion as well?
Yeah, I think it's the focus. It is because there's thousands of cleaning companies, as I mentioned, but really we've carved out a leadership position in a niche that we really created because of the focus. And that's really been a lot of our success, whether it's the chemicals we use, the processes we use, all the different services that we promote. They're just running throughout sort of the DNA of the company is, hey, the hospitality industry is our customers. We have a few other customers that are somewhat similar, but it's really the focus on this customer base has allowed us to orient almost everything we do around them, and that's given us a really leg up.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about your FDD briefly. I've had a chance to read through your FDD. What do you think is the most positive aspect of your FDD that really reflects where you guys are heading as a brand?
I think it's the validation. So as someone gets serious in our franchise, as we start going through the process, if they're a candidate, maybe someone listening here today is interested in Renue, we go through a process. It's not like this takes years and years and years to go through. It usually only takes 1 to 2 months is the investigation process. But a big component of that is what we call validation, which means that a candidate can speak to existing franchisees and they'll have that conversation, or sometimes they can do it in in-person meetings without myself or any of my team involved. So it's direct conversations. They will get the unvarnished truth about what it's like to be part of Renue, the good, the bad, and what are the skills needed. And that's really important. And we start out giving them several names that we think they would resonate with based on their background. But we tell every serious candidate, you talk to whoever you want, talk to any and all of them if you want, because the more information you get, it'll help you make an informed decision, as well as us too. We want to hopefully make a good decision too. But that validation is critical. And I think generally we get good validation. Renue, we think it's a great business, but realize it's not for everybody. But it helps our franchisee candidates make an informed decision. And the worst thing that could happen is we bring someone in who has the wrong expectations. So we really want to focus on this part of this validation for a number of key reasons to really try to make sure that we're getting the right people and our franchisees, as they're deciding it, can make that decision as well.
Obviously, there's quite a bit of opportunity in the business too, with recurring revenue and opportunities that way too. What are you most excited about as you see the expansion of your business now, where people growing the business in the current location or starting to do international expansion too? What do you see as the vision for what you want to accomplish in the years ahead?
Yeah, we really, I guess our focus doesn't change. It's really twofold.
Right.
It's we really try to help our existing franchisees grow. And we put a lot of time and effort in that. We've got big marketing team, big operational support team. I'm happy to grow that as we need to. I think we're in good shape on that end. But we really try to help them grow. And we also see that our franchisees, which is exciting, are helping each other too, because they realize a rising tide lifts all boats. So they help each other as well. We do a lot to help foster internal communication, get-togethers, things like that. So helping our existing franchisees grow, whether they're very new ones or whether they've been with us for many years, that's one of the two areas that we really concentrate on. The other one is, as you mentioned, geographic growth. Whether it's in the US, we still have some very nice territories available, or increasingly international. where a lot of our customers have big presence, number of hotels. So that's a key focus, and the two of them actually go more together because again, the more franchisees we can bring in, the more hotels we can service, the more valuable it helps Renew. And that's an important thing to us. And I think as we're getting bigger and better at this, I'd like to think, and I think we are attracting even higher quality franchisee candidates as we get through it. I mean, I really like our team, and I think every time we bring in someone, for the most part, it only increases the quality of the combined team.
You mentioned marketing, talking about that a little bit. What are some of the things you do to help? You mentioned briefly about how you can go out on appointments when you first get into the different areas or help them get introductions to different hotels and stuff like that. What other kinds of marketing things do you do in addition to that to help the franchisees get off to a great start?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. So we've got both top down and bottom up marketing. Top down is these multi-year agreements with Hilton and Hyatt and Marriott and others to be their preferred vendor. So that really helps a lot. They encourage their hotels to use us, and there's incentives and things like that as well. So just having those designations when we go into a new hotel that's not a customer, when they see all these partnerships we have, that's often a nice door opener. So we do the top down, and then really also of importance is the bottom up. So we've got a great marketing team who work very closely with our franchisees. What they do is when we have a new franchise, we create a database and put it into our CRM, all the hotels in their area, and then we start contacting them. We know who to contact. It takes a lot of time to put this database together. There's no off the shelf one, but we
Right.
call it together and we start contacting the hotels and introduce ourselves. Some of them may already be familiar with us because, as I mentioned, being preferred vendor helps, or they may have been a customer in another city. But regardless, we tell them who we are and we know who to contact, what to say, and we try to set up meetings for them. And that's a very intensive process. It's not, hey, one email and we're done, but it goes on and on. And even when our franchisees have been with us many years, we have a very active database that we maintain. And I said, frequently using that. We use with emails, we use LinkedIn, we do some meetings, we do some mailers. So it's a pretty robust initiative that we continue to refine as we find more ways and as modes of communication change. But I think we're doing a pretty good job of getting the word out for our franchisees, both at the corporate level as well as at the grounds up level. And that's important for us to continue to do.
Obviously, every business has challenges and growth and things like that. What do you think is a lesson that you've learned from a result of a challenge or of a disappointment as you started to expand your brand? Obviously, you've been a part of this for quite a number of years. What is a lesson you've learned from a challenge you've faced in your business as you've been building it out?
I would say that sometimes our projects don't always go as planned. We tell our customers we're going to give 100% effort. We may fall short. Often it's not our fault. Maybe it's a miscommunication, but regardless if it's our fault or not, we own it. We make it right. So we're the type of company that runs at problems, not away from it. So as soon as we find out, usually within 24 hours, our franchisee will go and talk to the hotel manager and investigate it and do what we need to do, whether it's redoing a part of it or maybe it's just communication issue. We make it right. So we tell them, hey, we're not 100% right all the time. Again, whose fault it is, but we're going to make it 100% right for you at some point by coming in and addressing the problem. So using the expression turning lemons into lemonade we're really very good at that because we end up in almost all those situations, even if the project doesn't initially work out well, we make it right for the customer and they really appreciate it. So we're very good at making lemonade. We like not to have to be in a position, but it does happen. It's just the nature of a service business working inside a complicated customer. And that's really something we focus a lot on. And I think that differentiates us from a lot of other companies as well.
Your guys' slogan is "Go Beyond Clean." Talk about that a little bit about what that means to your customers.
Yeah, I think a few things. It shows our commitment to, it's cleaning and that's very important, but we really have our we're really vested to make sure our customers succeed. So we'll do things like come out and train their staff or give some education to them about things they can do on a daily basis to make their property better. Even if that's not putting money in our pocket, we're there to form long-term relationships with our customers and really try to help their properties improve, help them as managers improve. If we can take off their plate the deep specialized cleaning projects so they don't have to worry about it, and they know with one phone call or email that Renue will come out and take care of whatever they need to. They don't need to babysit us. That's really important because running a hotel is just sort of like firefighting all the time. There's a lot to do, and if we can again take one important task off their plate, that's very meaningful. So that's what we mean by go beyond clean. Is yes, we do a lot of cleaning, but we're really here to be a vested partner to help them improve the operation and, frankly, the performance of their hotels. Because I think probably everyone on this listening now, when they go to look at a hotel, probably one of the first things they do is go look TripAdvisor or elsewhere to see the ratings of the hotels. And one of the most important criteria is the cleanliness of the hotel. So that's what we're here to, and our customers know that it's important to clean an investment that pays itself back very quickly in spades. So that's really what we mean by go beyond clean.
I appreciate you talking about that a little bit. Just out of curiosity, what are some of the commonalities between your franchisees? Do people have to have a background in cleaning, or do most of your people coming in joining a franchise, do they not have any background at all in that? Maybe we could talk about that a little bit, some of the commonalities and what you're looking for in franchise candidates.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because it may sound, again, complicated to do all the cleaning services and manage a team, even if it's a small team, if you've never done it before. But it's really very few of our franchisees have any direct background. They come from all different backgrounds, to be honest.
Sure.
And we find what's needed is from a skill set and mindset perspective. Skills, just being able to manage a small team of blue collar workers. Again, you start out with one or two, and probably the biggest will be about 12-ish and several vans. So several crews running. So being able to manage that, getting your hands dirty the first couple jobs so you're comfortable doing that, but really manage the team, do the scheduling, things like that. But even more so, the other part of that is the sales ability. And you don't have to be a slick salesperson at all. It's really building relationships. So it's building the trust with hotel managers. And we teach people how to do that with specifically in the hospitality industry. It's really about building the credibility and long-term relationships. So from a skill set perspective, being able to manage a small team of blue collar workers, yet interact and build relationships with white collar workers with our support. The second part is the mindset. It's really just a personality. Do you fit with our culture? We're very collaborative. We're very responsive. We're not a 24/7 business. People can have a life, and they should have a life. But it's just being responsive to our customers and treating them professionally. And that's how we treat our franchisees. I think our leadership is servant focused in that we really think we work for our franchisees to help them succeed. So we clear the path, get rid of as many obstacles in their way so that they can grow sizable businesses with our support. So I think that's, if I look at the backgrounds, we've got people that are in the pharmaceutical sales industry because they love building relationships, getting their hands dirty. They don't want a desk job. You can work from a small home office if you want. We have people that come from Fortune 100 companies that in the distribution industry. I mean, just so many different. There's very little commonality with a few veterans, and we're always looking for additional veterans, and we help give some financial support there. So it's different. We do have one former customer of ours, just that's how he heard about us and liked it and said, I want to do this. And so relocated to a different city, and he became it. So that's it. And a lot of them are just individuals, sometimes husband-wife team or two partners, but can be any and all of that. Or we've got a few that have particularly internationally, that are bigger companies, have some cleaning background or facility management or hotel background. So that's what it is. But in the US, it tends just to be one or two people who don't know about us. They're just looking for an interesting, unique specialized business to business type service operation.
What are you personally most excited about implementing in your franchise in the year ahead?
It's just what gets me excited, and my wife, it drives her crazy because by Sunday night I'm just chomping at the bit to go. Is it's just the growth. It just we really like. It's just very rewarding to see the growth. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, and being a service business, it's so much comes down to the people, the team that we have. But that's what gets me excited is the opportunity. I've been with Renue, as I mentioned, for 15 years, and the company is next year will be 35, and I still feel like if we did a baseball analogy, maybe we're at the bottom of the third inning. There's just a lot more opportunity that we have out there, and I think we've got a good platform to do it. And it's really just a matter of us executing and making sure we're treating people well. If I look at our biggest customer, Marriott, and their philosophy, started by the founder, is it doesn't even look. He really doesn't need to talk to customers. He just focuses on his employees, because if they set up their employees well and create the opportunity for them to succeed, they know their customers are going to be in good hands. And so this gets us excited, is the growth opportunity, and a lot of it comes down to, again, is the team that we have.
Fantastic. Well, it's been an honor to chat with you, David. I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day. Let's say someone's listening to this and is interested in learning more about Renue Systems. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you and go start their discovery process with you about your brand?
Absolutely. Probably the best way that is to go to the website that you mentioned, renuesystems.com, RENUE systems with an S.com. You'll find information, and as well as contact information. I am more than happy to speak to speak with anyone. To me, that's where I spend most of my time, is interacting with our employees, our franchisees, potential partners, customers, things like that. I think that's important for me to play that role. So I'm happy to do that as well, and want to continue to interact with our people. But you'll see a lot of information there. Happy to have a conversation and even talk just about franchising. As you can see, I get excited about it. So we don't have to only talk about Renue. There's lots of good franchises out there, and you'll be in good hands by just purveying the market, talking to Jim about it, and there's good opportunities for everyone. Like I say, we think Renue is a great business, but it's not necessarily the best business for everybody. So making sure that you find something that works for you if you're interested, and there's lots of different companies out there. So happy to try to point people in the right direction or give you my 2 cents about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, just in conclusion, any final words you want to share to someone who's listening to this about why they should be a part of what you guys are doing there at Renue?
Yeah, I think that it's not to use the expression that maybe is overused, but I'll say it, is that a lot of people may be nervous. Never run a business. I've worked at a big company. Wow, I don't want to do this, or I'm nervous to make a change. But at the same time, maybe you've worked for a number of years and things may have worked out, may not have worked out, and you just want to do something different or something on your own or something more entrepreneurial. I think a franchise is, again, to use the expression of, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Right.
If you're with a good franchise, you'll get a lot of help, and they'll help you succeed. Yes, there's a cost to the business, but if you were to actually try to do it on your own and research how to start the business and all that, it'd end up costing you a lot more and take you a very long time. So I think a franchise serves a lot of needs for a lot of people, because it's a way of being entrepreneurial, but maybe if you're nervous about it, this is a good way of doing it. And if you're with a good franchise, the research shows you're much higher odds of succeeding than to try to do something on your own. So that's what I would say about that, is that there's a lot of franchise opportunities. Some maybe not as good as others, and certainly some may not be as good a fit for you. So don't give up if you've looked at 1 or 2 franchises and say, this isn't for me. There's a good chance there is one for you.
Great advice. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us about your experiences and about your brand. It's very exciting what you guys are doing there at Renue Systems. Look forward to hearing more about your successes in the months and years ahead. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and keep doing these. This is a great opportunity for people to learn.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Best Franchise Brands podcast. To get a free copy of the Ultimate Insider's Guide to Finding the Perfect Franchise, go to bestfranchisebrands.com. You can also request a short franchise strategy meeting with James to find out which franchise brand will best fit your skills and help you achieve your personal and professional goals.